The night is still. The air is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. The houses in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Clear Lake, Texas, sit in perfect rows, their manufactured lawns stretching under the glow of streetlights. It's an ordinary July evening, the kind where neighbors water their plants, children ride their bikes, the hum of crickets fill the air. But inside one home, a horror is unfolding. Blood pools on the beige carpet, soaking into the fibers, staining the furniture. The walls are painted in splatters of red, a grotesque contrast to the neatly arranged family photos. 4 young bodies lie motionless, 2 men, 2 women. The echoes of gunfire have long since faded, replaced by the eerie silence of the aftermath. And standing in the center of it all is Christina Paolilla, a girl no one ever suspected, a girl who had been embraced by the very people she had just taken the lives of. Welcome to GBR Life Transmissions. I'm your host, Caitlin, and you're listening to GBR Life of Crimes, where we explore not just what happened in crimes committed by women, but why they happened and the psychology behind them. Today, we unravel the shocking and tragic story of Christina Paolilla, the girl with the golden friends who became the monster in the mirror. Most criminals are shaped by tragedy, poverty, neglect, abuse. Christina, she had it all. Born in 1986, Christina's early life was marked by loss and struggle. Her father, a construction worker, died in a freak accident when she was just 2 years old. His death shattered the family, sending her mother into a downward spiral of addiction. Stability became a fleeting thing, slipping through their fingers as she moved from place to place. But Christina's hardships weren't just external. She suffered from alopecia, condition that caused her hair to fall out in patches. By the time she was in elementary school, she was completely bald. And kids can be cruel. Christina bore the brunt of their mockery, wigs, drawn-on eyebrows, heavy makeup. She did everything she could to cover the scars of her condition. But the damage was more than skin deep. Psychologists studying childhood trauma often discuss the impact of social rejection. When a child is ridiculed, ostracized, or made to feel unworthy, it can plant seeds of deep insecurity. Some spend their lives trying to heal from it. Others let it fester. For Christina, it festered. By high school, she was fragile, desperate to belong, desperate to be loved. And then, like the fate itself had intervened, she met Raquel and Tiffany. Raquel and Tiffany were everything Christina wasn't: popular, beautiful, confident. They had the kind of effortless social power that made others want to be around them. But unlike the cruel kids from Christina's past, they didn't push her away, they embraced her. They made her feel wanted. They let her sit with them, talk with them, be one of them. And for Christina, this was everything. This was salvation, or at least it should have been. Psychologists often note that when a person has been deeply wounded by social rejection, even kindness can become a source of paranoia. The fear of losing it can be overwhelming. What if they're just being nice? What if they'll change their minds? What if they'll leave me? And Christina had one more factor working against her. She started using substances, not just recreationally, heavily. The kind that she used is a well-known that does not just dumb down that pain. It rewires the brain. It makes paranoia sharper, emotions more erratic. It turns fears into realities and whispers into screams. So when she started dating Chris Snyder, a 21-year-old with a violent streak and a taste for substances, everything began to spiral. Chris didn't like her friends. He saw them as a threat. He planted seeds of doubt in Christina's mind, feeding her paranoia. They're using you, he would say. They'll leave you behind. And in the fog of addiction and insecurity, Christina started to believe him. The date was July 18th, 2003. Christina and Chris arrived at Tiffany's house that afternoon. Inside were Tiffany, Raquel, and two young men, Marcus and Aldebert. They had no idea that Christina and Chris weren't there to hang out. They were not there to talk. They were there to destroy. What happened next was a bloodbath. Chris and Christina burst into the house with guns drawn, and the attack was ruthless, methodical. The boys were shot first, the bullets tearing through them in quick, brutal succession. Then came Tiffany and Raquel. Raquel fought back. She clawed at her attackers, screamed for help, but the assault was relentless. And Chris got her at point-blank range. Christina, in a haze of adrenaline and fear, shot Tiffany, and then they left. 4 young lives stolen in an instant, not knowing what was about to happen, from someone they called a friend. The crime sent shockwaves through the community. Police were baffled. Who would commit such a horrible, senseless act of violence? But for years, the case went unsolved. No one suspected Christina. Not the police, not the families, not even those closest to her. But as time passed, Christina's carefully constructed mask began to slip. The guilt, the substances, the paranoia, it all started to consume her. And then, in 2006, a tip came in, a whisper from the past that cracked the case wide open. A former friend, someone Christina had confided in, came forward. She had confessed to the lives taken, and now there was nothing left to hide. When the police arrived and arrested Christina, she was barely recognizable, strung out, emaciated, living in a motel filled with substance paraphernalia and despair. The golden girl who had once been saved by friendship had become something else entirely. The essence of what you would assume a murderer would be. During her trial, the defense tried to argue that Christina had been manipulated by Chris and that she was under his control, but Chris was dead. He had taken his own life before police could arrest him, and Christina, she pulled the trigger. She was sentenced to life in prison. Psychologists analyzing Christina's case point to several factors: childhood trauma, deep insecurity, substance abuse, and toxic relationships. But in the end, the most horrifying part of this story isn't what Christina did. It's that it never had to happen. She was not born a monster. She was made into one. And that is the most unsettling truth of all. How many others walk the same tightrope between acceptance and destruction? How many are just waiting for the wrong voice to whisper the right words at the wrong time? Monsters aren't always born. Sometimes they're created, and substances never make it better. This has been GBR Life of Crimes, part of GBR Life Transmissions. I'm Caitlin, reminding you that understanding the darkness helps us appreciate the light. Join me next time as we uncover another case that challenges everything we thought we knew about the criminal mind.